And it is the Saturday Coffee Klatch, coming to you today from Pegasus Books in Berkeley and Oakland, California.
So happy to be here at Pegasus.
Heather, it's good to see you.
And you.
I mean,
Labor Day weekend.
Houston, Texas was fun, but it's nice to be back and in a bookstore. I mean,
it's so great.
It's great.
Great.
I'm so glad you're here with us. This is Labor Day weekend, and it's a book weekend because what do people do? Right? On Labor Day weekend, they read books.
Go to the movies.
And they try to escape from the fascist world we now live in.
And take a break from work, right?
And take a break. Yeah. That's right. Heather, what are we going to talk about today?
Where do we begin? Let's start with the occupation of American cities.
Oh, good. Very uplifting.
The occupation of the American economy. And then I want to do a deep dive into your book, which I have read.
Well, yeah. I hope there's time also to talk about your movie.
Oh, yes. Of course, The Last Class. I'll give you all the updates. They're so good.
Let me just say one thing about the occupation, Trump's occupation of America. We're talking about Washington, D.C., where he's now authorized the federal troops to carry guns. Let's be clear, crime is down a third, 30% below what it was 2 years ago. There is no crime problem. He is using a pretext of nothing. He's making this up. He's creating another Trump manufactured crisis. And he is saying that he's going into Chicago and into New York and into Oakland, California, and all these places, and Baltimore. Heather, this is what in the old school used to be known as fascism.
I know it. And so in your book, you actually distinguish between authoritarianism and fascism, and you have 5 key elements. But people keep saying would-be dictator.
He's not a would-be dictator.
There's no would-be.
No, he's not would-be anymore. I don't know if you saw the Labor Department. You know, I used to run the Labor Department of the United
stomping
States
grounds.
for over 4 years. And I saw a picture. I want everybody to see this photo. Take a look. So you notice the banners. I mean,
notice the banners? How do you not notice the banners?
On the right is Teddy Roosevelt. I think it's nice to honor Teddy Roosevelt. I don't quite know Teddy Roosevelt's relationship to organized labor, but let's put that aside. But on the left, you have a banner, a huge banner of this fellow, Trump. I mean, the last time I remember banners being held, or really held over the Labor Department like that, was never. There has never been a time. Never been a time. And it's not just the Labor Department. He has another banner over the Agriculture Department.
Yeah, USDA. But you'll notice that's branded 250, right? So he's doing a big push around America's anniversary. He's bringing UFC fighters to D.C. I mean, he has a whole plan around this.
And this is going to be next July, next July 4th. So between now and July 4th, you know, we're going to have banners, Trump pictures, Trump photos everywhere. He does not see the difference between himself and the United States. When he talks about me and mine, he's talking about, in his brain, he's talking about the United States, and he refuses to acknowledge that he is not America.
That's malignant narcissism. We've used this term before.
It's malignant narcissism, and it's extraordinarily dangerous because he is now, the reason he's occupying these cities is because he wants fights. He wants to create a groundswell of opposition. There is already a groundswell of opposition, but he wants the militia to be able, his militia, his police state, to be able to go after Americans who are upholding democracy, because that's exactly what he is. He's that kind of belligerent. And one thing that interests me is that over the last week we've had not only the governor of California, Newsom, but we also have seen the governors of Maryland,
Westmore,
and also the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, respond to Trump in extraordinarily powerful ways.
Very direct, on camera. All the clips have gone viral. as they should.
And they're talking about the Constitution. They're talking about, Mr. President, you have no right. You have no constitutional right to come here. There is no pretext. There is no reason. Crime is down. We are doing a good job. You are withholding federal funds that would make it easier for us to control crime. But even so, crime is down.
Right.
And you are violating the spirit of the United States, not just the Constitution, but the whole reason we are together as an entity called our American society has to do with our freedom.
Yeah.
And you are violating that freedom. Pritzker was particularly powerful. Let's see if we can get just a short clip of J.B. Pritzker.
If you hurt my people, nothing will stop me, not time or political circumstance, from making sure that you face justice under our constitutional rule of law.
Gavin Newsom is also doing the same thing, and again, Wes Moore is doing it. Not only in terms of responding to the occupations or potential occupations of these cities, but also responding to Trump's demand for additional redistricting.
That's it. So we had J.B. Pritzker, who welcomed all these Democrats from Texas. Then we have Governor Newsom, who's saying, we're going to have a plan. If you gerrymander, we will counter gerrymander.
Counter gerrymander.
Right?
Well, that's right.
Specifically.
We're not going to have a race to the bottom. We're not going to over gerrymander. We're just going to match what you do. We're going to remove every incentive for you blue state governors, red state governors, to try to find more seats in Congress.
And you've seen Governor Newsom's social media game.
It's great.
His game is so good, because I'm sure you all have seen it, but he's mocking Trump's style with the all caps and the short sentences and signing it, what's his middle? GCN, I think, doing the initials.
The mocking is a very important
It's
technique.
an important tactic, yeah.
And a very, very, because the way you get under Trump's skin is you mock him, but also the way you show the public how ridiculous and adolescent and juvenile Trump is you imitate, you mimic what he's doing.
And it shows a kind of confidence that I think people are looking for. I mean, Donald Trump has been this strong man, and it's who can come out with policies, God forbid, that are sound and against what he's doing, and then who can beat him at his own game online and be sassier and funnier. He hates that.
Yeah, and I think that it is very important for the public to, right now, feel that there is some powerful groundswell of opposition, particularly coming from places where he is illegally and unconstitutionally extending his police state.
Right. Can we talk a little bit about the occupation of the economy?
Well, that's also going on.
I know.
mean, he is, he's firing one governor of the Federal Reserve Board.
Yes.
And he is putting enormous pressure on the Fed and Jerome Powell.
Yeah, that's Lisa Cook, right?
And now, interestingly, the Supreme Court did authorize him and the federal government to get rid of independent agency personnel, but made the exception for the Fed. It understands, and the Supreme Court did understand, that the Fed needed to be independent. But he is disregarding that part of the Supreme Court's decision. I mean,
of course he is.
Heather, if you made this up,
I would have had a better, more imaginative
it would have been
story.
Incredible. But this is what he is now doing. And as he takes over the American economy, it's not just the Fed, it's also these import taxes going by the name of
tariffs.
And negotiated by himself. Part of the negotiations are these countries are all saying, we will make investments in the United States. Who's going to be in charge of deciding how those investments are organized and where they go? Donald Trump. He's taking a big chunk of Intel, 10% of Intel as equity for the United States. He's holding hostage all of these companies and basically saying, unless you do what I want, you are not going to be able to function very well.
And this is a hallmark of a fascist dictator.
This is a fascist state. The difference between an authoritarian, I mean, look at China. China has a vast bureaucracy controlling its economy and deciding what companies can or cannot do. That's an authoritarian kind of economy. Here we have emerging something that is not a vast bureaucracy that is telling companies what to do. It is the White House. It's Donald Trump and the people immediately around him who are deciding essentially what the rules of the economy are going to be.
Right.
It's arbitrary. It is capricious. It is one personality. That's no longer an authoritarian. That's really a fascist economy.
And you talk about this in the book. Can we get into the book? I'm so excited about the book.
I'm so glad you are. Did you read it?
Well, most of it. Of course I read it. But so what I love about it is that it feels like a historical take, right? But it's through your eyes, and where were you when you were processing certain things, and here, where'd you read the Powell memo, and what did you learn about the Hard Hat Riot, and what did you do about it?
You did read the book.
I will.
Well, the book is organized around this double entendre, coming up short. I'm obviously, short, but it's also about my generation. Born in 1946, 10 days before I was born, Donald Trump was born. Shortly after I was born, George W. Bush, and then Bill Clinton, then Dolly Parton.
Wasn't Cher also born in
Cher.
So
you know
good.
that. I mean, this was a big year. But it was not just that. I mean, we have Clarence Thomas born the following year, and Hillary Clinton. There is a generation. I don't want to tar an entire generation with the responsibility, but Donald Trump is the product, not, he's the consequence, the culmination of many decades in which people who should have been leading this country, and I will take some responsibility for this. I tried, but I think I failed, and this is a mea culpa, in many respects.
A mea culprit.
A mea culprit. I mean,
But you dedicated it to your dad,
yes,
which I love, and you talk a lot about who he was and the fact that World War II happened, he came out of it, where are we as America, and then you take us through this trajectory, and the middle class is booming, and then you talk about this U-turn. Tell us about the U-turn.
Well, the U-turn started to happen, and again, I lived this. I lived through it. This is not some abstract history. I saw it. I was at the Federal Trade Commission, and I saw that no longer were American incomes rising in tandem with the improvements in the productivity of the economy. Up from 1946 up until 1978, 79, every improvement in the economy was matched by an improvement in the median wage. Now, median, we're talking about half above, half below, a good measure for where people are. But certainly after Ronald Reagan, the median wage started to stagnate. Although people were still most people were still believing in the social contract, that if you work hard and you play by the rules and you do everything you possibly can and you raise your kids well, you will do well, you'll do better through your lifetime, and your children will do better than you. But that social contract began to unravel. People began to notice that they were not doing better and better.
And workers weren't taking in the benefits in the same way that the higher ups were, right?
No, the gap was growing. The CEO pay, when I started to look at this in the 1970s, early 1980s, CEO pay was around, on average, 30 to 40 to 50%, or 50 times the typical worker's pay. But you get to the 90s and then the beginnings of this century, and CEO pay starts to take on a whole new life. I mean, CEO pay now is about 350 times the pay of the typical worker.
And are they that much more productive? And are they that much more superior? And are they? No. But I like reading all of, why did it happen and where were the particular trends and trickle-down economics. There was no trickling down.
Nothing trickled down. This was the biggest hoax that Ronald Reagan perpetrated, and it continued because George W. Bush, also big tax cut for people at the top, and Trump won, big tax cut for people at the top. And now the second Trump administration, another big tax cut for people at the top. And you finance these tax cuts by either excessive deficit and then debts that become huge, or by cutting programs that people need. I saw this, Heather, at the start of the Clinton administration. You know, I knew Bill Clinton very well. He was an old friend. We had met when we were 22. And during his campaign in 1991, I worked with him, and his goal was to invest in people, in education, in job training, in infrastructure, in all kinds of ways that would help the average American adjust to what was rapidly becoming a knowledge economy. But he couldn't, or he wouldn't, because what happened then was Wall Street was getting more and more powerful. An ambassador of Wall Street, Bob Rubin, became head of his National Economic Council, and Bill Clinton was afraid to do this kind of investing, this public investing, for fear that Alan Greenspan, who was Fed chair at that time, would basically say, okay, interest rates are going to go up, and Bill Clinton, you are not going to become president
But what's
anymore.
great about the book is you recreate these conversations that you had with Bill Clinton and with Bob Rubin. You talk about financial entrepreneurialism versus product entrepreneurialism. I mean, you get into it, but it doesn't read like a textbook. It reads like...
Well, it really was my life. I mean, the thing that, as I wrote it, I kept on coming back to it. Honestly, it was kind of heartbreaking, is that I saw all of this unfold. And I kept on saying, in fact, in 1994, after the Democrats had lost both houses of Congress, I tried to explain it. I said publicly that there were so many people who were hurting. The typical American was not getting ahead. There was a two-tiered society. Inequality was widening. People were angry. And the Democrats had to respond. If they didn't, the road we were on would lead to a demagogue.
You said that. They said people can be easily manipulated in this situation, and will be. And when you said it, you got in trouble for doing a speech that wasn't kind of cleared by everyone.
I did.
Is that right?
I did. But the saddest and heartbreaking aspect to me is that the road we were on was and carried with it the inevitability of somebody like Trump. If it hadn't been Donald Trump, it would be another demagogue. I mean, it was the Democrats were not providing an alternative explanation for what was happening.
Right.
They were not saying to average working people, big corporations and wealthy individuals are abusing their wealth and power, and they are making life harder for you.
Right.
And they're creating benefits for themselves. The tax cut, tax on labor unions, and on and on. And I guess what I was left with in terms of trying not to be pessimistic about the future is a sense that we couldn't have stayed on the path we were on, and maybe we needed something like, and here I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we needed something like Trump to shake us up, to wake us up. We were taking so much for granted. We were taking democracy, the rule of law, due process, the economy. We were taking it all for granted, and we can't and shouldn't do that.
But you don't, this isn't just complaining and throwing your hands up. You have concrete solutions about what we can do. Raising the minimum wage, Medicare for all, free public higher education, tax the wealthy in smart, savvy ways. And so much of what you talk about is the structure of the economy needs to be made such that it benefits the middle class and working people.
And the poor. That's right. And everybody should benefit.
But it's a structure. We have it's not a free market way out there.
No, these are all political decisions.
We can do this. It is
These
policy.
are all political decisions. These are policies. In other words, you went to policy school.
I know.
You got your master's in public policy.
Thank you.
I taught you.
You did. Well,
We talked
one
about
class.
we talked about all of this as being political decisions. It's not as if the economy is out there somewhere. You know that it's in a cloud and we have no way of doing anything. That all of these ways in which the economy is organized and politics are organized, we have the power to change it.
Yeah. One other section of the book that I love. So you talked about serving.
Oh, I'm so excited! You really did.
I really did read it. You talk about how you did one term, the first term of President Clinton's presidency. You were there, and then you had to make a tough decision after that, and you decided, I think I need to spend more time with my family. And you talk a little bit about that and talking to your sons. But you had this phrase which is so apt. So you have two sons, and they were preteens at the time, Adam and Sam, and I have a 12-year-old boy. And you describe teenage boys as clams who are always shut, except if they need to open for nourishment or to expel dirt. And then you talk about
that's right,
is it good?
And
so you talk
but
about,
if you're not there when those clamshells open for nourishment or to expel dirt, then you might as well be on the moon. I mean, you have to just let them open.
I know, I loved that.
And when they do, you see this beautiful, these pearls.
Mollusk? I don't know.
No.
Fleshy.
You do. And so Adam and Sam, they got through their teenage years. I did come home. But by the time I came home, they were late teenagers.
Right.
And the thing is, you need to prepare yourself because late teenagers don't need you like early teenagers.
Like they're late, like they didn't come home from school early enough?
They may not come home from school at all. Late teenagers really do separate. They should separate. That's the way we are designed as human
sure
beings.
did.
Well, you did, and you
Did
understand.
You?
Yes, I did. But it's hard for parents. I remember I came home expecting that Adam and Sam would go, we're so happy you're here.
Done with that Secretary of Labor stuff. Yes. Here I am, boys.
And they said, well, we're so glad you're home, Dad. We'll see you around.
Yeah. And I got to go. Well, I'm going to the movies, but
I'd say,
we'll find you sometime.
May I please come and see your game? Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can see the game, but afterwards, I'm heading off to dinner.
Right, exactly.
Well,
I wish I could. No dinner tonight. Sorry.
And I remember Adam at one point saying, I think he was a junior in high school, and I said, can we do this together? And he said, okay, but you better appreciate me while you have me, because I only have one more year after this.
He was right. The other thing you say in the book is that the media is our nation's classroom by which we're learning about democracy.
Every day.
True, but also a scary
Well,
prospect.
it's scary if you have a president who sues the media, with defamation, these crazy defamation suits against ABC and CBS. And then he also, at the same time, threatens the media. And he tells, and we're talking about, broadly speaking, all the media.
And this is another hallmark of a dictator, right?
Absolutely.
Hello. Is that number 8 on the list of whatever it is?
It's actually
10 things?
higher on the list.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the history of dictatorships or fascism or totalitarian regimes, and going after the free media, the free press, is very high on the list.
Yeah.
This is something that Thomas Jefferson and James Madison and...
Did you ever go to Monticello?
I did.
Oh, it's great. Do you remember when he could get out of bed on either side? In his bedroom, he could pick which side, and it was right in between the two rooms.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember
That's
that?
interesting that you remember that.
Well, you just mentioned Thomas Jefferson. I was thinking about
I remember that they were slave owners.
Oh, that's for sure.
And there is at the core of American history this sin of slavery, coupled with a second sin of basically wiping out much of Native America.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump doesn't want that taught. He is saying to the colleges, the universities, the museums, the Smithsonian, no, you can't show any of that. But if we don't know our history, well, then we are, as Santayana said, condemned to repeat it.
Yeah.
We have to know our history.
Of course, and we have to remedy the wrongs.
And this is another aspect of fascism, totalitarianism, that is trying to change history. Donald Trump wants America to forget that there was basically at his direction an attack on the Capitol on the 6th of January 2021. He has pardoned everybody who was part of that, 1,500 people.
And elevated them. I mean, he's
elevated them, and then
made them heroes.
Fired all the prosecutors who prosecuted them. Rewriting history is something that, again, dictators, totalitarians try to do. He's not going to get away with it, I don't believe, because dictators always fail. That dictatorships always end. They always overreach. Trump is overreaching already. But in the meantime, there are real dangers.
Right, and you had a hopeful Substack a couple days ago that was about the fact that the overreach around corporations and the private sector and this state capitalism, whatever we want to call it, is going to be an undoing of his as well.
Yes, because when he owns the economy, whether we're talking about his attack on the Fed, the Fed is now starting to reduce interest rates because I think indirectly he is already having an effect on the Fed. That's what many people think. And on top of that, he's got all his tariffs. The import taxes. And on top of that, he's got his big tax cut for the wealthy. And on top of that, he's got all of these intrusions he's making in individual companies. Well, he owns the American economy. If the American economy continues in the direction it's going, that is toward inflation and also recession, stagflation, that's something that he is going to be tagged with. He can't help it because once you own the economy, once you take on that much of the economy,
you can't blame Biden for that.
You can't blame your predecessor.
We shall see.
Well, I think, in the long run, Heather, I'm optimistic.
I know, and I feel like, can I just pick this book up?
Yes, do.
I feel like
if there's something you'd like to read out loud, please.
Well, here's one of my post-its. You summarized the great U-turn. America's great U-turn from a growing to a shrinking middle class, from upward mobility for most to soaring wealth for a few, from stakeholder capitalism to shareholder capitalism was occurring with very little public awareness. I think you have these great summarizing sentences and then these terrific stories. I also like that it's short chapters. You and Barack Obama.
Yep,
you and Barack Obama, right there. It has some great photos, and I kind of want to read the last line, but that's, I think, what's called a spoiler.
I'm so pleased.
I do like the book.
I'm really pleased.
Why? Did you think I didn't like the book?
Well, I like your movie, too.
This is what we're going to do? It's going to be...
Well, I just want to say...
I like this last picture of you teaching. You'll have to see it. You'll have to buy it to see it.
Well, the teaching is the segue, because I think that the movie The Last Class, Elliot Kirshner directed, you produced, is just making record-breaking showings around America.
And I actually love the people. I just saw someone on Blue Sky say, I'm 2/3 of the way through the book. I just saw the movie. And Reich, says it like it is. It was like I like that the two pieces of content, as we say in the biz, were being woven together, because that's kind of what is meant to be. I mean, it makes sense.
Well, also the movie is upbeat. There's a sadness about it, but as I watch it I felt that those students, my students, the students who are really now going into their senior year, they are the future. They are the future of America. And they have the right values. They're dedicated to the right things. By and large, generalizations about a generation don't make much sense. But I have seen a difference. I've been teaching for 43 years, and the students in recent years are even more public spirited than they were decades ago.
What does that mean? More aware of the common good and fighting for it?
Yes, they're more aware of the importance of fighting for the common good. And I think this, again, is a little bit of the silver lining of Trump. He has made people so aware of the actual benefits that we've gotten as Americans, the structure of the economy, the structure of our politics, the ways in which the system is actually organized, and why we have to preserve the good parts of it, and why we have to basically change the parts that are they're hurting people.
Right.
And students get it. They get it, and they no generation I've taught has understood it as profoundly.
And it's great. So what the film does is it shows you teaching, so we can see that. Also, you can watch Wealth and Poverty, the actual course, on YouTube. So that's available for free. But this shows you teaching the course and thinking about teaching the course. And that's what I think Elliot captured so beautifully, is the side processing you do around the classroom about when to retire and what the world is looking like. I mean, so this film is in 104 theaters across the United States, and that includes DC, and that's 34 states we're in, plus 2 provinces in Canada.
It's an international film.
Well, not quite yet, but so this is the model we're using. It's kind of like why we're here in Pegasus Bookstore on Solano Avenue in Berkeley. We are supporting independent local theaters with a theatrical run. We want it to be in these local theaters, show a vibrancy, have people come in and feel solidarity in person with other community members. And so that phase of it is going so much longer than we expected. So everyone keeps saying, when is it streaming? Well, if it weren't doing so well in the theaters and people weren't knocking on the door and wanting to see it again. So 90% of theaters that have shown it have extended it and offered it more than once.
Wow.
90%, because they said, oh, people showed up, people are into it, our community likes it, we're selling popcorn, let's keep going.
Well, it's fascinating. I mean, independent theaters, I thought they were gone.
Well, a lot of them are, but a lot of them are not, and a lot of them are nonprofits. A lot of them do a range of, music and movies. I mean, it's been I didn't know anything about this, but it's fascinating.
It's like independent bookstores, like Pegasus. Our communities depend on opportunities for people to come together, to learn from each other, to read, and these independent bookstores and independent art theaters and other arenas where people can come together are so critically important.
Social cohesion.
Particularly at a time like this.
Right.
When if we are just individuals, we're just atomized. We don't understand what's at stake, and we feel powerless, and we feel alone. People have to know that they are not alone, that they are not powerless, that most people feel as they do, and that they can exercise their power.
Yeah. So you can go to thelastclassfilm.com to find a screening near you, thelastclassfilm.com. Also, people are starting to bring the show, the movie, to their own neighborhoods. You can do that by hosting a screening. And I'll just tell you, the next phase of things will be community screenings where people can host it for book groups, at local coffee shops, that kind of thing. So that's coming next. And then after that will be video on demand, where you can get it on your laptop. And then after that, we'll see if any streamers come knocking at the door.
Well, streamers always come knocking at the door.
Do
eventually.
they, though? Well,
yes.
I mean, some of them you might have to slam the door in their face or not answer it. I'm not sure.
Heather, I just want to tell you how lovely it is to see you again.
It's so fun to be in a book. So where should we go next?
Well, I don't know. Where do you think we should go next? I just want to say a few things to everybody, because we've talked about some of the scariest stuff you can imagine in terms of the expansion of Trump's fascism, the expansion of his attempts to rob America of our freedoms, to impose martial law, to make it more difficult for people to learn what's going on, taking over our museums, our universities, and every other aspect of public life. Yes, that's going on. And there is room to be absolutely appalled and outraged and depressed by all of this. But Heather, what we've been talking about is opportunities for people to come together, to understand basically what we are all in and up against, and whether it's reading my book, or it's seeing the movie, or it's doing 1,000 other things that recognize your power as citizens and our duties to one another as members of this same society. So rather than end on a downer, I want to end on this upbeat note.
Can I read the 10 things you put in your Substack?
Well, you can, sure.
If Democrats got off their butts, here's what they'd be doing right now. And these are things we all can do. Don't let Trump get away with his lies. Plan and announce ways to catch up with what we've lost on the environment, human rights, voting rights, labor rights, and safety nets. 3, lay out a vision for the future. 4, tell us what you do to prevent this catastrophe from ever happening again. This is going to be very important, I think, when it comes to the next election. 5, mount an independent investigation. Again, this is to Dems, but we can all be supporting all of these efforts, right? Number 6, join the International Criminal Court. Number 7, create a digital safe haven for whistleblowers and defectors. That's a big one. 8, aim at the real culprits. Who's that? The corporations?
The big corporations and wealthy people that are basically using and misusing their wealth and power in ways that hurt a lot of other people.
Hurt people and corrupts our politics. And then number 9, was it 9, not 10? Take back Congress in 2026.
Very critically important. Thank you, Heather, for all of that. And thank you, all of you. We'll see you next Saturday.